Welcome to r/slash Prorevenge, where a thief gets his entire wardrobe destroyed. This happened when I was in college back in 2011. I lived in a 4-story dorm that was all guys, about 40 to 60 guys per floor. Each floor had one laundry room with 3 washers and 3 dryers, plus cubbies to store your laundry bag and soap while you were washing. A few months into the semester, I noticed my laundry detergent was disappearing faster than it should be. Not a huge deal, but mildly annoying. What made it a bigger deal was that whoever was stealing my detergent would also take my clothes out of the washer and leave them on the floor so they could wash their clothes. This pushed me over the line. I would typically do a load while I went to class, not classes, so this made finding the perp tricky. Then a golden idea hit me. I went to Walmart and bought a new jug of laundry detergent. The same brand I always get, but I also bought extra strength bleach. I poured half the detergent from the new bottle into my old bottle and replaced it with the extra strength bleach. The next day, I did my laundry as usual, but left the new and improved detergent in the cubby instead of my regular stuff. Then I waited. After class, sure enough, my clothes were sitting in a pile on the floor, soaking wet. And the whole laundry room smelled of bleach. Just what I wanted. Fast forward to the next week. Every Monday night we had floor meetings where we basically talked about rules and stuff on the floor. In walks the guy, we'll call him Bob, wearing a newly bleached hoodie and ruined jeans. Bob drops his pile of ruined clothes on the floor and starts spouting off about how someone owed him money for his ruined clothes. The whole floor burst out in laughter. Apparently, I wasn't the only one Bob was stealing soap from. He didn't get another sentence out of his mouth before our RA told him stealing detergent was still a crime, so it was his own fault. Enjoy your bleached clothes, Bob. And then Meltdown down in the comments has a similar story. A sucky apartment I lived in back in the early 2000s had storage units and laundry in the basement. One day, I was rummaging around in my storage unit when I saw a neighbor girl come down and put her load of clothes in the dryer, put in some coins, and leave. A little bit later, another scumbag neighbor comes down. He stopped the dryer cycle, took her clothes out, and threw them on the ground. Then took his stuff out of another washing machine and stuck it in the dryer the girl had just paid for, and then he left. Well, this calls for a little vigilante justice. I had a few bottles of liquid butt prank spray. If you've ever experienced it, you know that just a little tiny squirt can clear a room. I went and dumped an entire bottle all over his clothes, then restarted the dryer cycle so that it could get well and truly baked in. I went down and checked the basement a few hours later, and the guy's clothes were piled in the trash, reeking like a pit toilet. The dryer stunk too still, so I put a buck in and let it run empty. It aired out fine, so no one else had to suffer. Our next Reddit post is from D-Striker. So most users of computers will probably have some experience with this. You know when you're online shopping and sometimes a box pops up and says, click this, promo code, sign up, yada yada. Well, we know they're scams. My mistake. I first clicked the wrong X. They put a fake one on the top and I clicked it. I immediately shut the page and thought that was the end of it. Nope. So the site I bought the Hanukkah gift I was getting for my mother sold my credit card information to the pop-up. I activated that when I clicked the wrong X. I was a teenager, relatively new to my checking account. I checked my statement for December and all was well. I didn't check for the next couple months because I didn't use it for anything. There should be no charges. I know better now. When I did check, I noticed all these small insignificant charges that weren't mine. All less than $10 and usually around $2. But the multiple charges added up to just over $200. When I looked into this, I found the connection. I called the thieving company and told them they stole my information and are illegally charging my card. They didn't deny it, but they also didn't care. I wanted my money back. They refused repeatedly. I gave them so many chances to fix everything with just that. I eventually warned them that I would have to sue if they didn't give back what they stole. They laughed. Turns out there was a class action lawsuit in progress, which my lawyer used as leverage for a quick payout. We sued for fraud and violation of federal communication laws. What they're doing is very illegal and happens every day. This included a lot of popular stores and websites. Since they were 100% in the wrong and committed a crime, and I was a child who bought her mother a gift, I won the case. I received a judgment of $21,000. I told them it would all go away by just refunding my $200, but they refused. They seem to think a teenager threatening to sue a massive corporation that does nothing but break the law wasn't much of a threat. What they should have noticed, I was buying a Hanukkah gift. Hanukkah! Everyone I know is a lawyer. And then down in the comments, OP went on to clarify that her mom is an excellent lawyer and she's the one who sued the company. So basically the Hanukkah gift was, hey mom, here's a Hanukkah gift and a case worth $21,000. Love you so much, mom. But in all seriousness, digital security is no joke, which is why today's sponsor is Dashlane. As a YouTuber, I take password security super seriously. If a hacker got my YouTube password, they could delete my entire channel, and that would basically be like getting fired from my job. So that's why I use Dashlane to protect my YouTube, Gmail, and all other passwords. Dashlane keeps all of your passwords secure and even notifies you if any website has experienced a data breach. And with more than 50,000 5-star reviews, you know they're reliable. My favorite feature is that there's a two-step checkout process, so buying stuff online is super easy. And the best part, you can try Dashlane for free on your device by heading to dashlane.com/rSlash. Then, if you want to upgrade to premium, use the code rSlash to get 10% off. Our next Reddit post is from PM-me-your-moogles. My ex-husband, Brian, was and is a toxic, controlling narcissist. Classic case. Our divorce was very bitter, but I tried to be fair, splitting custody and giving him decision-making authority under the assumption that he would be a better father than he was a husband. Things went well for about a year. I got a new boyfriend who was great to both me and my kids and wanted to be involved in their life. When Brian found out my new boyfriend, Tom, was going to be attending my kids' fall festival at school, he went off the deep end. He abruptly decided he wasn't going to watch the kids while I worked anymore. He also refused to let my friends or family watch the kids, and said he had to meet them first. But then would refuse to do so and claimed he would sue me for going against the custody agreement, since he had decision-making authority. If I got a babysitter, he didn't approve. I lost 2 days at work scrambling to find any place available, which was difficult because of the school's location they attend. He began asking the kids to call him every night, which is fine, but if we were eating or busy doing something and I told him it would have to be later when they call, he would rage and threaten to sue me. He began asking me at all times where I was with the kids. One day, I went into work for 3 hours to clean up some things I missed due to a storm. I left the kids with Tom since waking them up at 4:30 a.m. seemed needless. When Brian found out, he raged and threatened to sue me. He threatened to apply for child support even though we split custody. He raged about every little thing. He didn't bring the kids to the Christmas school play because he knew Tom would be there. He fought me over medical appointments for the kids and refused to pay his share because he didn't agree to the appointment. And, of course, would sue me. He wouldn't let me have the kids during his time, even to let them attend birthday parties or sleepovers with friends or family. Something we had been doing for each other with no issue. This went on for about 2 months before I snapped. I hate when parents are willing to hurt their kids over their own egos. He kept threatening to take me to court, and I was fed up with the empty threat. So first, I wanted to make sure he couldn't afford to fight me in court. Brian was on food stamps. I knew this only because he was claiming to pay his ex-wife rent. She still owns half the house, and he still owed her half the value. I sent his ex-wife a message asking her if she was getting rent from him, and she said no. I sent that letter to DCF, and they closed his food stamp card and sued him for fraud. Then his ex-wife turned around and sued him for her value of the house, since he was claiming to have been paying her all along. Then I sued him to modify the custody agreement and take out all the things he was using to try and harass me. I had screenshots of every nasty thing he sent me. I had a letter typed by his lawyer stating he was looking for another job since I wasn't paying him and that's why he couldn't watch the kids. So if he tried to get child support, I could prove he was capable of finding more income. I had medical records and receipts showing I had paid for everything for the last year for the kids' health needs. I had records of things he said to the kids about me. I had pictures of them looking filthy when picking them up from his house. I had receipts of everything I'd spent on the kids for the past year. He folded pretty quickly, can't harass me anymore, and is still paying off his first ex-wife. Our next Reddit post is from TheShowstoppaNT. So, Friday the 13th happened. It was glorious for all intents and purposes. I run day-to-day operations for a decent-sized company. We have a president who runs the company in-house. He can be tedious, overwhelming, and an all-around dick sometimes. Other times, he can be cool as can be. This was one of those times he was an overbearing, micromanaging dickbag. As shop foreman, I take my job seriously with morale. If my guys aren't happy, good product isn't produced. If good product isn't produced, customers aren't happy. Looking towards quality control, it doesn't help when guys are overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated. Friday was one of those days that started out well, but by 6:40 a.m., it had completely deteriorated. Note, we officially don't start work until 7 a.m. After the start, it was complain about this, micromanage that. Several people being cussed at and belittled. Everyone had had enough. Once in our programming office, the idea was floated by someone that we should walk out. He can't fire us all. Now, we've all joked about this time after time, but it's never been more than a thought. We grit our teeth and bear it. That day was something different. After getting yelled at again for something out of my control, I finally said F it. When someone asked if I was in and serious, I said yes. Then it snowballed from there. A total of 20 were supposed to walk out, but due to cold feet and a few taking a dump, only 14 made it. At 10 a.m., we made our move. I told everyone to wait until he would be distracted with the machine and we'd all clock out and leave. We all waited. When he was distracted, I gave the roundup signal and everyone left. A few stopped for beer to relax. We weren't intending on going back to negotiate until Monday. We all met at a guy's house and discussed why we walked, what we wanted, and what our terms were. One thing was very clear. We all came back or no one did. After talking for 2.5 hours and coming to our terms, we decided to head back after a text from him. We were going to corner him. We were going to talk it straight, or we weren't working anymore. The talk lasted almost 2 hours, with both parties flexing their given muscles at some point. But one thing was made clear. Things were going to change, or we'd all go look for new jobs. After several people were threatened with being fired and none being let go, we came to terms that benefited us. For once, our workplace had so much morale. People were excited to work again. We went back to work with a purpose, agenda, and pride. This is the first Monday I've looked forward to work in a year. Even the guys who couldn't come, the people in the main office, we stirred the pot. We've made it known we're not going to go through this anymore. I'll vouch for any of my men, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Our next Reddit post is from Vegas Dude. So, a few decades back, I was involved with a group of guys with a little money and we wanted something substantial to invest in. We decided to buy a restaurant franchise. I won't even say what kind, as that could identify me. Well, everything was going along swimmingly until my partners backed out. I, unfortunately, was the face of the group, and my signature was on the bottom line, so I got stuck with running the place. It soon became apparent that there were a lot of inconsistencies. The big number one was that the sales in the prospectus were nowhere near what was being generated. Then there were other things. Customers calling for their regular order. Well, it turned out that my particular franchise had been used for the past several years to deal grass and various drugs. The former manager had made some serious coin and was not happy that I'd purchased his place. Well, life is not fun when you've just sunk six figures and the likelihood is that you've just flushed it down the toilet. However, I was not going to be trifled with. First, I called the accounting firm who had signed off on the prospectus. The partner in charge was taken aback. They had never signed off. I presented myself in their offices and spent the next few hours with them and their attorneys. Their name could not be associated with something fraudulent. Next, I wanted my money back, and the chief franchisor told me that they would immediately put mine up for sale. But the market was not quite as high as when I bought it, less than 3 months previously. Then, the prick had the audacity to demand that I pay up for my last order from the commissary. Something else to consider. I took the price list provided by the central commissary that we as franchisees were compelled to use. Buying fruits, vegetables, cheese, and meats from outside the system would be accompanied by fines from the franchisor. I marched myself back to the accounting firm and asked for a bit of analysis. Turns out commissary prices were from 10 to 300% higher than market. In other words, the franchisor was not interested in foods, they were interested in turning around franchises. Well, that little report found its way into the hands of 20 local franchisees. Suddenly, the central commissary was not being used. The district manager starts showing up writing fines. Turns out, the district manager is the guy who was supplying the manager of my franchise. I have him on discarded VHS security tape selling. So I take the tapes to the accounting firm for secure storage. Then I go to the franchisor's offices. I lay it on the line that I have their district guys selling drugs in my restaurant. They laugh at me until I tell them that I'm the one who supplied the report to the rest of the franchisees. Oh, and by the way, we're starting an action against you. I then showed them that we had placed liens on the building they owned, their commissary, their homes, and their vehicles. I said, I have enough to put you guys in jail. So these mental giants sent me down, write up a little lease, and go get me a certified check for every dime I put into the franchise. I agree to the release. However, they do not realize that the gouging and the evidence is still in the hands of others. All they succeeded in doing was to get me off the list of owners suing them. Well, the case came to court. And who do you think was on the stand giving a complete rundown? One of them stood up in court and said, "Didn't we pay you to shut up?" "No, you refunded me the money you stole." Now they had 19 other guys taking them apart. I heard one of the franchisors cried when they took his Porsche. His wife left him soon thereafter. So let me get this straight. This guy stood up in court in front of the judge and said, "Didn't we pay you to shut up?" What a moron. That was r/Prorevenge, and this is r/Puppy Bloopers. Hugo. He began asking the kids to call him Hugo. He began asking the kids to call him every night, which is fine, but if we were eating or busy doing something and I told him, it would have been... Why me? Why me? Why did you do this to me? There's 3 floors of this house. There's so many places where you can squeak. Why do you choose to squeak right next to my microphone when I'm recording? Hugo, do you have to do this right this second? Is it critically important? Can you move around your schedule? Maybe push back napping and change around barking at cars as they drive by and, shuffle things around so that you could squeak later and maybe take a nap now. Maybe go drink some water now. Maybe go chase your tail upstairs. Dog. Why is this so critical to you? Why is it so important that you squeak this big fluffy snake right this second? Do you have to? Hugo boy. You're so cute though. You're so cute though. Dog. Go chase it.